Hello, hello, hello. It's Knits for Sanity and welcome to my WIP Chat. WIP stands for Work in Progress. So grab whatever project it is that you're currently working on, whether that be a craft, another hobby, a chore, perhaps you're exercising. Get started on that and listen to me chat for a while. First, in case you have not seen, I did post my 100 subscriber giveaway video. So if you are a subscriber, watch that video with instructions on how to be entered for a $10 Amazon gift card. And if you are listening to this and are not yet a subscriber, there is still time. The giveaway ends Tuesday, October 4th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also, please consider liking my videos. I am very thankful for all of you that have helped me get as far as what I have gotten, and eventually YouTube will be done updating and hopefully I can finally change my URL, which was why I wanted 100 subscribers in the first place. Kind of along that note, to talk a little bit more about my channel, very, very briefly, not to scare anyone off, but my hope is with my channel and with the crafting aspects of my channel, I really want to be able to feature more small business content. So to be able to get those diamond art kits from small business, to be able to get those diamond art accessories from small businesses, to be able to get yarn from small businesses. And I have featured a few products already. My Happy Mermaid Yarn Company unboxing is from a fabulous, just two women hand dyeing and selling their yarn. Craftably is just run by a husband and wife team. So I really want to be able to feature more of that. I love some of the larger companies, Diamond Art Club. I will continue to do unboxings because they have fantastic products, but I would love to be able to explore the field more and show you more of these smaller companies that have wonderful stuff and just don't have the resources for the marketing that some of the larger places do. However, in order to do that, I am not an affiliate for anyone. I receive no compensation for any of the reviews that I do. So in order for me to do that, I am using all of my own money. So if you decide to buy me a cup of coffee, which is an option in my notes, please be aware that any money that does come in that way will go directly back into my channel. That's it. That's my little business spiel. There you go. All right, so let's move on to what I am currently working on. There has been really no change between this week and last week. In fact, I don't think there's been any change at all. I am on the latter half of my crystal canvas art design here, my little gnome with pumpkins. The accessories I'm using, tray from Bella Art de Nicole, as well as my super cute little jack-o'-lantern trash drill container right here, which I'm also using as a cover minder. My pen today is still the same one from Amazon. And my putty, which I still find to be the best for doing the crystals, is from Crafts with Crashly. And it still smells amazing. Sadly, you can't smell it unless you hop over to Crafts with Crashly and buy one of her scented putties. This project has been going maybe slightly slower than what I would have anticipated, and not just because I've been really busy in life, which I have been, so I've not had the same kind of time to diamond paint lately, but it's also because I have to do this single placing. Now, I don't know if others of you have figured out how to do multi-placing with crystals. I'd love to hear it, but for me, it has not been an option just because I found, the crystals are larger than your standard drills. And hold on just a second. I am back. Sorry, my husband was coming home from having to run a quick errand there. And I had to make a couple of adjustments with my canvas. But anyway, I found that the crystal drills, they're larger than your standard round drills, and they're sized a little bit differently. When I am actually putting them down, I think to myself, oh, let's find a slightly smaller one to put here because that will fit better. And I don't know if that's just pretty normal with the crystal drills. If you have information on that and could help me out, that would be awesome. Another thing that I want to do is ask a community question with every WIP Chat. It's something that I talked about previously, where part of the reason why I really love YouTube is I love commenting on other people's videos and getting to know other people. And so I'd love to be able to start some of that here. So this WIP Chat's community question is, what was your favorite year in school? And these questions are not meant to be invasive or super difficult and personal questions, just very general questions, the kind of thing that it's just getting to know you stuff. So for me, my favorite year in school was 4th grade, which in the United States, 4th graders are about 9 to 10 years old. I was 9. Sometimes you can start as young as 8, but typically it's 10 years old. And I loved 4th grade because I really enjoyed my teacher. She was a brand new teacher that year, so she was very young. I had a couple of really good friends in that class. And I had a lot of fun that year, like too much fun at times. That's the one year in school where I did occasionally get into a little bit of trouble. Nothing bad, really. I was a really good kid. I was pretty much a model student. But there were a couple times in 4th grade where I perhaps had a little too much trouble in class. So 4th grade was my favorite year in school. I would love to hear what yours is. All right, moving right along here. As well as if you happen to have any advice about crystal drills, I'd love to hear it. Not that I mind single placing. It's kind of nice in some ways, but especially when I'm doing large color blocking sections, it just takes a really long time, which is fine. This is not a craft that is meant to be a race. This is supposed to be a very relaxing hobby, right? Other things going on in life. To be honest with you, I've been in kind of a weird funk this week emotionally. Just a lot of stuff on my mind. I'm concerned about one of my kiddos. And if you are a parent, that's something that I know every parent understands and goes through. It's like no matter what, there's always at least one child that's on your radar at that point in time. And I have one right now that is on my radar. And she's actually usually one of my kids that isn't generally on my radar, which makes it even more troubling. So I'm trying to navigate through that, and we'll hopefully get to the bottom of things and figure it out and be able to help her out. So that's been weighing on me, as well as just some other things that are there. And, it's just part of life. But it's left me in a little bit of an emotional funk, which I don't enjoy. But again, I think that's all part of being able to reflect and grow and figure out life and what you want out of it and where you want to go. Otherwise, it's been a week since you've had just me, because Sunday I did my WIP Chat with daughter number 2, which, by the way, if you have not watched that one yet or listened, really this is more of a listening activity, less watching. Although if you do watch it, I often put up pictures and little notes and stuff in my editing. So sometimes it is worth watching it. And quite often it'll be things that are done like post-production. So I won't always mention in my talking that I'm putting up a picture. For example, in that last WIP Chat, I talk about having to take a picture of my daughter with an Olympic athlete on the television screen and her standing in front of it. And I actually realized, hey, I could stick that picture in here. So I did that. So if you do watch, sometimes you catch some, I guess we could almost call them like Easter eggs. But really, this is meant to be a listening activity, not so much watching. But definitely go check out that WIP Chat. My daughter is... She's funny. She's a funny kid. She's super passionate about wrestling. And yes, this WIP Chat, almost half of it is dedicated to the sport of wrestling, not entertainment wrestling. Do not get confused. My daughter would be beside herself if she thought that you your understanding when she was talking about entertainment wrestling. So yes, it is mostly about the actual sport of wrestling, but it's good. It's good. She's a funny kid. There's some banter between us. I think it's a pretty entertaining listen, at least as far as WIP and Chats go. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. And so that was my last WIP and Chat. And since then, last weekend, Friday was homecoming. I did end up subbing and it went just fine. Actually, it was a good day. I went to the high school assembly and that was a lot of fun. I mean, I've not been to a high school assembly in decades. And that was really cool. And my daughter's favorite athlete, as we like to call him on the channel, was one of the MCs. And he did a great job. And I got to have a nice conversation with him. He's just such a good kid. I would totally claim him as my own. He's a joy. And then that night we went to the football game. The game itself, again, it was, I hate saying this, but it was another pretty easy win. Another one where they just let the clock run the second half of the game. But that does bring our boys up to 5-0 for the season. There's only 4 games remaining for the regular season. And they are currently still ranked first in our conference. So that is really exciting for them. And because it was homecoming, one thing that my son has been wanting to do for a long time is make a sign for his favorite athlete, who is not the same favorite athlete as my daughter's, although they are cousins. It gets weird. It's like my family has a thing for this other family, I guess. I don't it's truly by pure coincidence that these two happen to be cousins. Although I guess it is maybe a testament to this family must just do a good job raising their kids too, right? But anyway, my son has been wanting to make a sign to hold up for his favorite athlete. And I mentioned it last week and how his favorite athlete wasn't able to play last week due to an injury the week before. But that didn't stop my boy. You know, he still wanted to sign. And I had told him too that his buddy will still be on the field with the rest of his team. He just won't be able to play. So my son made this super cute sign. He did such a good job. He was so proud of it. So proud of it. He had it decorated. He had stars and he wrote good job, except it was spelled G-O-D-D, job. So God job. He wrote love Havelock, and it was really cute. So we get to the game and I give him a sign. And I said, so, now here's your sign, and then you can hold it up for Owen. But, wait till Owen is able to see it. Well, the boys weren't on the field at that point. They were back getting their, pregame talk and everything. But my son heads down to the gate that opens up onto the football field, and there he stands alone with his sign, waiting. He's just standing there waiting for his buddy to come out so he can show off his sign. It was so stinking cute just seeing this little boy stand there with this sign, this homemade sign that he made for this kid who isn't even on the field yet, isn't even actually playing. I'll put up a picture of that one because it was so sweet. And he stood there for a long time. I think he waited 15, 20 minutes. It was adorable. Well, his favorite buddy, his favorite athlete did finally come out, and then he was overjoyed. He kind of follows him out onto the field with his sign, and it was really sweet. I didn't get any pictures of my son with his buddy, but the kid did, and he just hasn't sent any to me yet. Actually, I should send him a text and be like, hey, can I get one of those pictures? And then of course my daughter made a sign for her favorite athlete too. And she actually did show it during the game for a little bit. She went out, there's a small set of bleachers kind of by the scoreboard on the field. And quite often the students will go out there to watch the game. And so my daughter went and she stood out there holding up her sign. It's really unique. We're the only football field in our conference that has something like that. And it's really because our track and field are seriously outdated. That's really the only reason why we have it there. But because it's also designed to hold all field events for track and field competitions, you have this little set of bleachers out on the field. I don't know if her favorite athlete ever saw her hold up her sign, and then he had to take off right away after the game, so she didn't get her picture, and she was kind of bummed. I mean, not terribly bummed. She understands very, very well, and she did send him a message later, hey, good job. And of course, there was the homecoming king and queen, and the whole homecoming court came out at halftime, and it's kind of fun just because now I know almost all of these kids and know their parents, and it was a good night. And then Saturday, I had to take the girls shopping. My oldest needed some supplies for a science project, and she had talked to me earlier in the week asking if we could go out. And I was real honest with her, and I said, we are on a super tight budget this week. Super tight. But if you can give me a list of what you need, yes, I will, I'll plan ahead and I'll make it work so we can go. Well, daughter number 2 was not going to give up the chance of going to a craft store, so she came along. And then afterward, we were supposed to go and look for Halloween costumes, or at least get ideas for Halloween costumes for the 2 of them. But being that they're both essentially teenage girls, that kind of quickly devolved into just regular clothes shopping. Which, if you follow me on Instagram, I wrote a post about that experience and how it was fun. It was a really neat experience, and I could really see each of their personalities shine through with this shopping trip. So go check that out on Instagram if you are so inclined. I need to get a drink here. Okay. This is actually a retake of my WIP Chat. I did one last night, but there were a couple of problems with it, including my son came out during it. He had a nightmare. Poor kid comes out, and he has all of his friends with him, which is a stuffed elephant. He loves elephants, and he has a lot of stuffed elephants. But this is like a 15-inch stuffed elephant versus he has one that's like 4 inches, and then he has 2 that are huge. So he came out with a stuffed elephant. He came out with a pink stuffed axolotl. He loves axolotls. And he came out with a blue Yoshi because he loves Yoshi. So he almost always has at least 3 friends with him. But that's what we call stuffed animals, friends. So he comes out with 3 friends, and he, has that sleepy face. I'm like, honey, what is it? And he bursts out in tears. I had a nightmare, so I have him sit in my lap, and I tell him, sometimes if you can talk about it, that will actually help you feel better, and it won't feel as scary anymore. And so he did. It was a dream about me dying, which pretty common, terrifying kid dream. So I gave him his snuggles and stuff and sent him back off to bed. But that's one of the reasons why that WIP Chat just did not work out last night. Yesterday was National Sun Day. Sun as in S-O-N, not S-U-N. So, Sun Day. And I love my kiddo. I love my boy. I'm so happy to have my son. He's a sweetheart of a kid. His football season's almost done. He has his second to last flag football game tonight. And then last one will be Tuesday. And then their end of year, really it's like a pizza party, will be Thursday after that. It's been really fun watching the team. Being that they are so young, the improvements that they make over just a few weeks are huge. And that's one thing that's really fun about teaching young children is the gains they make are so visible and so obvious that you really feel accomplished. And it's really cool to see just how much these kids grow. And so it's been really fun seeing that with these boys with like football and how they're all now really starting to get the game, and very, very cool. Their game Tuesday night was against the gray team, which that's the team with the varsity coach's dad, varsity coach coaching it. He has a son on that team. That's kind of what I meant to say. And I mean, our boys obviously still were crushed, even with, I'm very thankful to the coach. He did a few different things to try and help our team out a little bit. I mean, not anything bad, but things like putting his fastest runners at the back of the line for several plays, doing long passes for several plays. And it's all stuff that actually is good for his team too, because it helps the boys learn and practice more. But this week, we actually did score 2 points against the gray team. In the second game, we scored only 1 point against the gray team. And in the first game, the boys scored 0 points against the gray team. So they are really getting better. And my son, he carried the ball twice, and both times he did advance the ball. Not enough for a first down, but he did advance the ball. So we were able to share that with him the other night, and I think that made him feel really good. But football's starting to wrap down, you know. But another month of varsity could be, yeah, about another month actually of varsity, because there's 4 more regular season games. And then there could be, I think, up to 2 postseason games, unless, of course, the boys make it to state, which I don't see happening. I mean, obviously it could, but I don't see that happening. So then I think it's 2 postseason games is what they would have. And this year, it feels like I actually do have a break after football because I don't have a kid in racket football this year, which does go until the second to last Saturday in October, I think. Versus flag will be done October 6th. And the reason why it'll feel like I have a break is because with football getting done sooner, that means I have over a month between football and wrestling starting. Other than, of course, the varsity football games. But those don't really count. We're just spectators. And then wrestling begins. And as my husband likes to convince himself of, he's basically a single parent during wrestling season. He isn't, because normally I have 1 or 2 of those kids with me. But still, he is very, very patient. Wrestling takes up a ton of time. It's 2.5 programs. I say that because my daughter is with the high school wrestling team. My son is with the youth wrestling team. But then we also try and take in a little bit of middle school wrestling too whenever possible, just because those are my daughter's peers and she has friends on the team. And she usually ends up having to help out at those events anyway because she is part of the high school team. And tournaments for high school are Wednesday nights and all day Saturday. Occasionally there's a Friday night tournament. Tournaments for youth wrestling are Sundays. And for my son, it's Sunday morning. And his practices are Tuesday and Thursday nights. And of course, he has dance Monday night. Practice for high school is, of course, every day after school. I have no idea how my daughter is going to get home from practice on Mondays right now because I will be with my son at dance. I'll figure it out. I got a little time yet. But, you know, I'm full-blown into that. I need to be able to clone myself, part of parenting. Because the number of times where I'm supposed to be 2 or 3 or more different locations at the same time is a little bit overwhelming. There are days where it's like, you know, one kid probably would have been enough. No, I would not change it for anything. And truthfully, if we had the finances, I could see myself with 1 or 2 more. My husband definitely could not. Oh, good. He's doing a meditation right now. This is really good meditative practice for him if he's overhearing any of this. But no, we're very much totally done having children anyway. But I'm just saying, I think I could have done 1 or 2 more and been very happy. And, besides, we have the dog now, and the dog is really kind of like having another kid. The other night, I was out here diamond painting, and all of a sudden, I hear all of this thrashing about going on in the kitchen. I hear the chairs moving and the kitchen table, and it sounds like there is a fight happening in my kitchen. So I go and peek, and Alfie, he sleeps in the kitchen. He sleeps near the kitchen table, and his bed is actually like 2 dog beds on top of each other right now. And I think the one bed had slid down, and he ended up like rolling off from his bed while he slept, and then rolling underneath one of the chairs. And he's not a little guy, okay? He's roly-poly, all right? And so he woke up afraid, and then he was caught underneath these chairs. So then he starts thrashing about, trying to escape. But of course, because he's thrashing, that makes escaping more difficult. So now he's panicking. He did eventually get out. And then he walks over toward me, but I don't think he's fully awake yet. He doesn't even appear to see me at all, just heads directly for our bedroom door. Because what do you do when you wake up and you're terrified? You go to mom and dad's room, right? And that's exactly what he was doing. So he walks to her room and he pushes his head against the door, except it was totally closed. So he couldn't get in anyway. And I said to him, "No, Alfie, no." And then he turns around, he sees me, and he comes over by me, and I pet him like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. You had quite the scare, didn't you?" And then I go over and I fix up his bed, and I tell him, "Okay, now you can go back to bed." He looked at me with a look that was between terror and total disbelief. And then it turned to complete stubbornness. He was like, "No way, I am not going back to that bed." So I thought, well, okay, we'll give him a little bit of time. So I let him stay by me for a little bit. And then I went to go use the bathroom. And I thought for sure when I came out, I'd find him sleeping on the couch, which he sometimes has tried to do. And I was fully prepared to let him just stay on the couch for the night. That actually would have been fine with me. So I come out and I can't find him. He is not on the couch. He's not under my desk, which was my other concern, because under the desk is not okay. And then I'd have to force him. And he's definitely not in his bed. So I listen, because you can hear a bulldog from quite a ways away. And I hear him snoring and grunting down the hall and then around the corner right outside where my middle 2 bedroom is located. Sleeping right outside their door. So I call for him. I'm like, "Come here, Alfie. Come here, Alfie. Alfie." And he slowly pokes his head around the corner and gives me a look of death. And then he goes back around the corner and I hear "Humph." And I thought, I'm not moving him. And he knows it. There's no way I'm getting the 60-pound bulldog to move from one end of the house clear to the other. He literally went to the furthest possible location he could get in our house from his bed. So I decided, you know what? He's fine there tonight. Last night, we were able to get him back into his bed. He did try and make one escape and fled for the couch. But we sent him back. And then I think he was there all night. He was at least there until when I went to bed, which is always super duper late. So see, I kind of have another kid with the dog. He is a funny one. Otherwise, the rest of this week, pretty much the same old, same old. Son's football game tonight. Tomorrow night we have another football game. This is an away game. We have away, then home, then away, then home. And then if they do get to plan further, which at this point is a very strong possibility, I should look up where that will happen, but I think that will be away as well. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that will be away. Last year we did get to have some like tournament games take place at our school for both football and wrestling. And I think there was another sport too, which is really cool because we don't get to have that a whole lot. And let's see, I had to order some additional supplies for my daughter's science kit. Not her science kit, her science project. Hopefully those will come in tomorrow and she can get that done. Trying to address some of the concerns with the one daughter this weekend. See if we can't get to the bottom of some things and just come up with a game plan. I don't really think there's a whole lot else that is going on. Nope, I think that's really probably about it. And hopefully getting some diamond painting done. I'm hoping to get all done with this one because I have 2 more paintings that I'd really love to get to and complete before the end of October. That's the plan anyway. And the other 2 that I have are bigger than this. So one of them you've seen. It's that haunted house from Home Craftology. And I think I'm going to do that one next, just because I'm not sure what that experience is going to be like. I don't know what it's going to be like working on that kit. And then my last one is a Hannah Lynn from Diamond Art Club, which I've not done an unboxing for, but I will before I start doing that one. And that one I want to save for last because I know that should be a fun kit. You know, I know that the kit's going to be high quality and that should be an enjoyable one for me. Otherwise, I really think that's about it. I had a little bit more that I talked about last night, but I'm just not feeling it today. Although I am going to tell you this. My husband told me I'm not supposed to mention it on one of my WIP Chats. So it's a big secret. Don't tell him that I told you. Last night, I learned some very disturbing information. I cannot tell you what it is, but if you look up Barney, you'll find out. Barney, you know, the big purple dinosaur. Whew, let's just say this. I was always right to dislike that dude. Wow. Kind of shook me, like big time. So if you want to know, you can look it up. Otherwise, you might be better off just not knowing. And then don't ask me how I found out about it, because that's another story. Whew. Anyway, I think that's it for today. And I actually left you on a very disturbing note. You just maybe don't know it yet. Or maybe you do. So, we're going to wrap that up here. As always, I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope you're in a really good place in life right now. If you're not, I hope the tides turn. I hope if you're in a storm-ridden area that you are okay. I hope you have not lost all of your life possessions. If you have, I hope you have your health. But definitely thinking about all of you in those parts, and not just Florida right now, but all over the world that are struck right now by fire and storms. And there's so much going on. So thinking about all of you. So be kind to those around you, and I will see you again really soon.